Hello, I'm Jonathan Dirth, the Director of The Right Ethos, with Specialist External Affairs Recruitment Consultants. This is a focus on video series where we interview professionals to share with you their views and experiences of working in the third sector, particularly in external affairs roles. In this video, I'm interviewing Frank Smith, who's a very experienced international development campaigner. Until last year, he was in Washington working as a Director of Campaigns for a major international health NGO. In the past, Frank has worked for World Vision as the Director of their global campaigns and has had senior roles with NGOs including Plan International, Oxfam and Amnesty International. Okay, Frank, thanks for joining us this afternoon. You're over in Barcelona, I believe.
That's right, I am.
How long have you been based over there?
I've been based here a year. We moved here from the US, where I was working as Director of the No More Epidemics campaign, and the contract ended and we decided to move here, and I've been working as a consultant ever since, which has been very interesting. Yeah.
Who do you most admire in the sector? Is there any people out there you think, that's who I aspire to, or that's who a colleague, a peer that you may admire?
It's a difficult question, I tell you why, because it implies that that campaign revolves around a charismatic leader, and campaign and advocacy is always a team effort. You admire different people for different things. I mean, you could admire your CEO for being a charismatic leader and presenting things in a really compelling manner. You could also admire your team assistant for the rigor in which she, develops tasks and makes it much easier for the rest of us to operate in the thing. So to identify one person, I think, would be to do an injustice to the collective effort that campaigning involves. One thing I will say, though, and a person that I have learned a tremendous amount from, it was a researcher. She's retired now at Amnesty International, called Liz Hodgkin, and she embodies the spirit of the activist campaigner, tirelessly campaigning and working on social change. You wouldn't have heard from her, nobody will, because Amnesty International reports aren't authored, and she didn't take the limelight, but she diligently carried out research and had such a strategic acumen that she was able to read the kind of currents and really have a tremendous impact. She shaped the lives of thousands of people without them even knowing she even existed.
And to be a campaigner, what are the three main attributes do you think you need in order to really succeed?
Well, at the start of your career, you need a perseverance and faith that you're going to make it, because it's very difficult to break in, or people don't see how they can break in. All the qualifications in the world aren't going to give you a sort of head start, if you like. Yeah. You need to start to roll your sleeves up and get stuck in. So perseverance. You need good analytical abilities. You need to be able to analyze. Whether you're working on the policy and research side, your attention to detail needs to be, and analytical skills and acumen needs to be really top notch. Or if you're working on the campaign and mobilization side, you need to know what the public mood is, and what you could call the structure of political opportunity to influence or to mobilize or to engage. And even if it's an issue that's unpopular, you need to find a way to couch it, to phrase it, to package it. That's going to, so you need creativity on either side, on the research side and on the analytical side. And on the mobilization side. So yes, I would say perseverance, analytical skills, and
creativity. Okay, great. And what do you find is the most rewarding part of being a
good
campaigner?
Campaigner
Why do you do it?
Means having a toolbox of obviously sort of assets and competencies that you bring, but you're also bringing a set of questions to a problem that people in research or people that in programs don't bring. So it's how you approach the problem and how you sort of envisage the solution. And then you step back and and try and understand what your contribution will be in relation to a broader field that includes many other people. And then you try and sort of get others on board, and getting those others on board for me, and getting them engaged, and making them, or helping them get it, for me is the most rewarding.
Okay. And to someone starting out as a campaigner at the beginning of their career,
well,
what sort of advice would you give
campaign
them?
is almost starting an apprenticeship. You can't, for the life of me, I can't see how people do it without going through the volunteering route. And you know, the volunteering route is almost inevitable, and sometimes it's really difficult, and you lose faith that you're ever going to get there. But something will come in, or something will happen, or if not, you know, you set something up. You know, go for it. If you feel passionate about an issue, don't be deterred by, you know, the difficulty of, you know, of putting something in place and trying to press for it. Start with your local community if you need to.
What do you think the biggest challenge for campaign and
Yeah,
organisations?
there's a number of challenges today, that's for sure, that the sector faces. I think in the present sort of political sort of moment, the threat to the framework of rights and the rule of law that's coming from many different angles. You know, that leverage that we had when I was working at Amnesty to say you're violating human rights and, you know, the world is looking at you, that has less currency nowadays. Governments are more sophisticated or less inhibited when it comes to ignoring rights. So I think the sector has to work really hard to maintain and uphold the rule of law. I think that's the backbone of what we do as campaigners, because there lies accountability. And I would say with the rule of law under threat means accountability is under threat.
If you couldn't be a campaigner, what do you think you want to be now?
Well, I still think I'd be an academic. I'm very happy, you know, locked up with loads of dusty books, you know, looking at arcane things that only myself and probably one other person is interested in. I quite like that. My life has taken a different sort of direction, and I'm very grateful for that. I mean, it's been fantastic, and it's a real privilege to be a campaigner. I wouldn't want to be anything else now, but if I had to be, I think I would like to you know, continue my studies. I finished my PhD in 2012, and if I could, I would continue that sort of strand and continue the studies along the lines.
Frank, thanks for spending time with us this afternoon. I really appreciate it. It's been really interesting, and
Thank you
good
so
luck in
much.
the future, and I hope we'll speak again soon.